Hello everyone and welcome. This is Christine with Kaisercraft, and today we're going to use what's in my stash to make two similar but different Christmas cards. And when I say similar but different is because I'm doing the same thing but with different supplies, and in the end I have kind of two different cards. So I am using this stencil from Kaisercraft. It's the Poinsettia Stencil. I've also grabbed my Nuvo glitter accents in color Winter Cranberry and the Nuvo crystal drops in Woodland Green. I have some peeled paint and barn door distress ink and this Nuvo Glimmer paste, and this color is Moonstoone. It's absolutely gorgeous, my favorite. Now, when I decided to do this, I did not have any sort of glitter drops for the green, accent drops, glimmer paste, and I didn't really have any of that. So we're going to try the Crystal Nuvo drops and see how this works. But first, we are going to grab the distress inks. I'm using the barn door for the flowers and the peeled paint for the leaves. I am going to go through and do the leaves first. A, they're the smaller area, and B, there's not really all that many of them compared to the flowers. So I'm just trying my best to avoid getting green on the flowers. So I've got some scrap paper here, and I'm just trying to block that off as best I can. It's not perfect, and I do get a little bit of green on some of the flowers, and I do end up getting a little bit of the red into the leaves. But in the end, I didn't hate the look. I thought it was kind of nice and gave it definitely more of a homemade feel than a box store feel. So anyway, moving on. When I first started the flowers, I was going to try to avoid that center area. But that was a lot more difficult than I thought it would be, so I decided, forget it. I am just going to do the center of the flowers red. If I had some sort of gold glitter drops or anything like that, I probably would have gone ahead at the end and added those to the center right on over the red, but I did not have anything similar to that. And honestly, the red and the green, to me, I really loved. I am focusing most of the color on the center and then kind of flicking my blending tool out to the edge of the flowers on these bigger flowers. I definitely want the inside of the flower to be darker, but it also helps me to prevent getting too much color onto those leaves. So once this is all set, I'm going to grab a paper towel and wipe as much of the ink off of my stencil as I can, because I'm bringing in now these Nuvo Glimmer paste. It's the Moonstone, and it's a clear glimmer paste, and I know that none of this extra is going to be able to go into the bottle because it's going to pick up the distress ink, but I didn't want to get the red and the green all over, which is why I wiped the stencil down. So I went ahead and added an even layer of the glimmer paste over the top of the card, and I put that aside to dry. So now we're going to go on to card number 2, same sort of situation. I have some watercolor paper here. I've got my stencil. I'm going to tape that down over my pattern paper. But this time I am grabbing my Nuvo glitter accents. Love this color. It's called Winter Cranberry. So pretty. And I squirt some into each one of these flower petals. I'm trying to be very careful about not getting any of this paste underneath the stencil, which that part I feel I was able to do fairly successfully. The glimmer or the glitter accents is thicker, and it did go on the stencil quite well. I think if I were trying to get the whole stencil to be red, I would have been able to do that successfully and had a nice even amount all across. But because I'm trying to avoid those green leaves, I found that the Glimmer paste with the stencil was a little difficult to make sure it was even. So I definitely have areas where it's a little bit thicker and it's a little bit thinner. And you can see that on the final card. You know, it's not like it dried and that changed. It didn't. I don't dislike it enough to not give this card out, but I dislike it enough that I would want to practice a little bit more if I was going to continue to use these products to do this card in this way. Now, once this is all done, I wiped my craft knife, or not my craft knife, it's really just a palette knife from my daughter's art supplies. I have wiped that off. I let this dry for a couple of days. You certainly do not need to let it dry that long. That's just how long it took before I could get back to this project. Now, I'm trying to do the same thing with the green, but the only thing I have for green is my Nuvo crystal drops. This was a fail, guys. It did not work as I hoped. It wasn't thick enough, so it bled underneath the stencil, and basically I ended up with green blobs on the card. Now maybe if I had some pixie spray and I was able to keep that stencil completely down, maybe that would have worked, but then I would have run into, I would have had to pull it up to clean the stencil off or risk having this stuff stuck on the stencil. I don't know how that really would have worked out, but in this case, Nuvo crystal drops in this doesn't work. I mean, look how blobby that looks. Some of them are okay, but that center one, man, that's rough. So I definitely don't think I would do that again. If I liked that idea, I think I would go get some of the glitter drops in the green color. So I am using some foam tape to add these bases to my, or add these panels to my card base, because it is watercolor paper. It got a little warped in the process, and this really just helped it stay nice and flat on my card base. So once I have those done, I also stamped out a sentiment. It says, "Have a magical Christmas." This is from an MFT stamp set. I'll leave that stamp set name in the description below, only because I'm not sure off the top of my head which one it was from. So I used the sentiment to cover that green blob right there on the center of this card. And on this card, I had a hard time. I didn't want to cover it up. It's so pretty. That one's absolutely my favorite. So which one's your favorite? Leave a message in the comments below. Thank you so very much for joining me today with this experiment. If you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you'd like to see more and you're not already, I would appreciate it if you hit that subscribe button. But until next time, everyone, have a great day. Bye.